So we're joined now by Congresswoman Barbara Lee, former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congresswoman, thanks so much for joining us to bring to the fore just who's going to be hurt adversely, most adversely, by a possible shutdown. And what are your concerns for your communities?
Andrea, I'm very, very, very concerned about a possible government shutdown. And I tell you, it looks like that's what the Republicans want. Let me tell you, and as you said earlier, many African Americans and people of color work for the federal government. These employees will be furloughed. Anyone who is a beneficiary of a government service will not receive that government service. Anyone who really needs the federal government for whatever reason will not be able to receive the types of services that they have been receiving. And so it's a very serious situation. But I have to say to you that I'm glad that the President and the Speaker and Senator Reid are talking and negotiating, but we just recently, within the last half hour, tried to pass a continuing resolution, a clean continuing resolution that would keep the government open for the next week. But the Republicans would not support that. They want to keep defense open for a year. They want to start their war on women in this budget, and they want to also begin to erode the Environmental Protection Agency. So there are many issues that are outstanding that the Republicans want to attach to a continuing resolution. The Democrats have come more than halfway.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Congresswoman, but you're saying that even that 1 week extension, which I thought did not include the riders, you're saying that Planned Parenthood and the EPA and some of the other riders were going to be part of that 1 week extension?
Part of the Republicans' 1 week extension, yes, and also funding the Defense Department for an entire year. I'm very pleased that the President has indicated that he would veto that bill. The Senate will not deal with that. I mean, Andrew, the Democrats have come more than halfway. People deserve to keep people deserve to have their government function for them. The government should remain open. But I'm really quite concerned about what has taken place. And so people of color, the African American community, senior citizens, low-income communities, people who are poor, they have a lot at stake. And so that's why we're working day and night to try to get this solved.
Well, let me ask you a couple of specifics about what would happen if there were a shutdown. What about supports such as food stamps? What about unemployment compensation? How would those checks be handled in terms of the government?
Well, as I understand it, some of these checks, which are computerized, for example, income tax returns, if you filed electronically, then you should be okay. You should be able to get your refund back. If you filed manually, there's a big question about that. So as I understand it, many of the electronic types of payments, I think Social Security recipients will be fine. But any kind of paper type of applications would be a problem. Food stamps, again, that's partially state, partially federal. But all of the support services for veterans and for low-income individuals, for seniors, all of those that require one to go into an office or to have a staff person there to provide those services, if they're paid by the federal government, they just will not receive those services because there will be no staff there to provide them.
And the senators who get all sorts of special perks are going to have a real problem because they will have to push the elevator buttons themselves. The elevator operators would be furloughed. So
well,
that would be a real problem for the senator.
Well, I think it's a real problem for those elevator operators who won't have a paycheck. These people deserve to work. They don't make a lot of money. Again, people who are going to lose are going to be people who don't make a lot of money. These are going to be people who don't have money in the banks. Many people live from paycheck to paycheck. And Andrea, let me just say, I am part now of a fast. This is my first day of fasting, water only for 24 hours. We've joined with Sojourner Movement, with SEIU and 40 organizations to fast for 1 day. I have now about 50 members of Congress who are joining 30,000 people to raise awareness about these extreme budget cuts that the Republicans are trying to enact. And it's really a shame and disgrace. And so people need to know, people are going to bed hungry tonight. There'll be more people going to bed hungry. There will be more people poor if the budget that the Republicans want passed gets passed. And so we have to be very concerned about the least of these and what we have to do here and the impact of our decisions on people who don't have a lot of money, income people, the poor, working people.
Congresswoman Barbara Lee, thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
perspective. An MSNBC special series, A Stronger America, The Black Agenda, continues this week with a